Stop the FOMO. I know you all had big FOMO after Samsung showed off their latest QD-OLED TVs at CES. I know I had the FOMO, especially after Chirag at Samsung Display showed off 4000 peak brightness from their latest 4th generation QD-OLED TV technology. And then actual side-by-side comparison between my current reference, last year's amazing 2024 S95D, compared to this year's 2025 S95F. But notice I said I had FOMO. What happened to my excitement? Well, I saw the next big evolutionary step to come after QD-OLED at a private suite hosted by nanosys, the creators of quantum dots in QD-OLED. Well, they showed off what's to come, and it's awesome. I now have FOMO for QD-Ultraviolet TVs. Oh yeah, I love CES. Hey friends, want to upgrade to Windows 11 Pro but can't afford the official price of $199? How about $21 or Windows 10 for $16 with my discount code SF20? Thanks to our sponsor, Whokeys. Yes, Black Friday is here. Get an additional 30% off with my code SF20. Go to Whokeys.com, add Windows 11 Pro to your cart, apply my discount code SF20, and bam, only $21. Here's how we activate it. Go to your Whokeys account at the top right under User Center, click on My Purchased Orders, click on View Keys and Code, click Get the Key, copy the Windows 11 Pro key under Code Card, then go to your system settings, scroll down and click Activation, click Change Product Key, paste the key code, click Next, and you're done. So don't miss out on these amazing deals. Click on my links in the video description below. Today, I'll try to convince you that this technology is even better than micro-LED TVs. Samsung, LG, are you listening? You better move fast, or I know Hisense, TCL, or BOE will come after it first. We'll begin by the current QD-OLED stack so you understand where we're starting from and why QD-Ultraviolet TVs is the next logical step. So currently QD-OLEDs is actually only partially QD. It's not full quantum dot. Let me explain. So the layer that gives you all the colors, most of the colors, is quantum dot, specifically red and green. Blue is not quantum dot. It is the blue OLED. That's the OLED part. So current QD-OLED TVs from the first generation to this generation have all been partially quantum dot, with red and green quantum dots, and then blue OLEDs providing the blue color through a scatter plate, right? So you're not getting blue quantum dots, which is working very well, but they have a few weaknesses. First, OLED. As we know, OLED is less stable, organic is less stable than inorganic like LEDs, micro-LEDs. That's why the unicorn, the dream TV technology is micro-LED. It will not burn in. It will have longer lifetimes and it will get instantly brighter without a risk of burning in. OLED, on the other hand, every time it gets brighter and brighter, we have to find ways to keep that OLED from falling apart. And blue is the least stable. So this year, in helping that blue OLED or the QD-OLED get brighter, they had to mix in a little bit of green to improve efficiency. But ultimately, we're getting close to the limit of what OLED can do. So today, when you buy a QD-OLED TV, a quantum dot OLED TV, only 2 of the color pixels are quantum dot color converters, right? QD color converters are red and green. So what happens is the blue OLED generates the energy into the red and green quantum dots, and it energizes those quantum dots, converting it into all the colors that we see, while the blue is then sent through a scatter plate, so to speak, to get the blue out there, right? So red, green, quantum dot layer, and then direct blue from the OLED. But there's another limitation. It's that scatter plate. This is why in a bright room, when ambient light hits the screen, there's that lifted black problem. That scatter plate is absorbing light from the room, lifting it so that when your TV is off, it feels like the screen is a light gray, a dark gray. It's not perfectly black. And some people see this as affecting the image quality. So in a brighter room, that deep black, well, it's not there. So the 2 biggest weaknesses, 1, OLED, less stable, limited brightness, eventual burn-in, we fear, shorter half-life, and then the scatter plate, not perfect color. The quantum dot's doing its job, scatter plate plus OLED, not so good. So the obvious solutions to address this is, first, we replace the OLED, right? The blue OLED with what? Blue micro-LED. So if you remember a few years ago, Samsung was dabbling in its version of QNED, right? Quantum dot nano LED, where it's using nano blue micro-LED technology to generate the blue, but they shelved it. They thought QD-OLED, good enough. And maybe cost too much, whatever. Not there yet, not in the near future, and you're still using that scatter plate filter. It doesn't solve the second problem. What we want is all three R, G, and B color converters, right? Quantum dot color converting layers to be red, green, and blue. Not just red and green with a pass-through for blue. Whether it's blue micro-LED or blue OLED, we want all three to be quantum dot color converters. Take a listen to what Jeff Urich of Nanosys has to say about this recent development.
And looking forward to sort of near and midterm opportunities, I'm becoming increasingly bullish on the QD micro LED application, actually. Sort of over the last 6 to 12 months, we're starting to see the kind of intersection point where the capabilities of the quantum dots and then the design, the needs for the product are really coming together. And so I think we will see this ship within the next 2 years.
So the solution is get rid of the OLED altogether, right? Get rid of all the weaknesses of OLED as well as that scatter plate and replace everything with all quantum dot, giving you just a quantum dot layer. But then what do you replace beneath all of that? What color? What can energize all three colors? Ultraviolet micro-LED.
For the second half of the Quantum Dots short course, Ilan Jen LaPlante will be the speaker. She's a senior staff scientist at Nanosys, where she leads PL Quantum Dot materials development.
There are also companies which are working on color conversion in all three color channels, so conversion to red, green, and blue on a higher energy UV wavelength micro-LED. QD color conversion on micro-LEDs could solve a really key challenge for micro-LEDs. With color conversion from quantum dots, it's actually possible to do patterning directly on micro-LEDs with really high precision and uniformity.
So there we have that solution. You have all color converting layers in quantum dot pixels, red, green, and blue. Then you have the ultraviolet layer generating the energy that then converts to all the necessary colors you need, all with quantum dots. Now, why is this approach better than micro-LED TVs? Here's the genius part. So first, micro-LED TVs. Why are they so expensive? It's because of the yield. Specifically, if you have a bad pixel, you literally have to throw away an entire tile. So you have a tile of these micro-LED TVs with like hundreds of thousands of pixels in the little tile. And if you have one bad pixel, let's say the red is broken, you got to throw away the whole thing because you can't repair it, right? The entire tile is fixed. So when you put these RGBs, red, green, blue micro-LEDs on a tile, they have to be perfect. They have to all be working. One bad pixel, the tile goes away. So imagine on a giant 98-inch, 85-inch, 65-inch, with all these tiles, one bad tile, get rid of it. Each of those tiles, maybe $1,000. It adds up. Here is the genius part with this approach. So the quantum dot color converting layer, that's the easy part, right? Inkjet, I mean, we already got red and green. Now we just add blue. Okay, that part is not the issue. What about the micro-LED UV layer below? First, all of the UV layer is the same UV, not multiple colors. That allows them to be redundant. So instead of having just 3 UV LEDs, UV micro-LEDs below, driving the 3 colors above, you have 4. So if you have one bad pixel in the micro-LED layer, you have a 4th one as a redundancy. Think about that. So given that any tile might have 1 or 2 bad pixels here and there, it's okay. You have another one below to replace it. On paper, sounds perfect. It's not even just on paper. They have a working prototype. Check it out. Yes, I know, it's just a watch. But stop and think about that. It's a watch that's putting out 3,000 nits. I was there and I was like, wow, that's bright. And Jeff Urich of Nanosys is like, oh yeah, it's 3,000 nits. So I asked him, wait, can it get to 10,000? Sure, if you wanted to. And that's the key. Now, there are some drawbacks. And the biggest drawback is UV. So in other words, you need a UV filter. If I'm watching a TV, 4,000 nits of brightness coming from this TV, UV driven, I'll be crispy bacon by the time my TV review is done. And as far as expense, well, here's the expense. No one's using it yet. So someone's going to have to adopt this technology, invest in building this out, building out the tooling line and all that stuff. Who's it going to be? And this is the key. Nanosys and Applied Materials. So Applied Materials did a lot of the research on this, right? The paper up here is by Applied Materials, but ultimately this is at the research level. They have the proof of concept. Look at that watch. Looked beautiful. Way better than self-emissive quantum dots, because self-emissive quantum dots, the actual quantum dots themselves is generating the light. The blue quantum dot is unstable, just like blue OLED is unstable, just a lot more unstable. Well, now we have full QD, full quantum dot layer, driven by a much hardier microLED that's UV. UV is the energy that will be converted by the quantum dot layers to the multiple colors that we see on our TV. So stop and think about this. They have a proof of concept. It's working. They have the white paper to prove it. They have the chemistry ready. They have a watch prototype they can show you. All that's left is the question. Samsung, LG, which one of you are going to pick this up first? Or will you let Hisense, TCL, BOE, AUO, maybe, give Nanosys a call? And I asked Jeff, why aren't you making it? He goes, we don't make TVs, we don't make panels, we just make the technology. Someone else has to actually build the line. And before I sign off, this technology is so early, so nascent, they don't even have a name for it. I'm like, Jeff, what are you calling this? It's amazing. He's like, we haven't given it a name yet. So how does ultraviolet TV sound? QD-Ultraviolet TV? Hey, sounds good to me. I'll take the credit for that, Jeff. Let me know what you guys think. This next evolutionary step is so obvious. Why aren't they doing it? Who should be giving Jeff a call at Nanosys? I love CES, where all the hard stuff is being shown off to the world. Until next time, stop the FOMO.